to
Yes.
Brooks Falls and Katmai?
I mean, he's more than welcome to move them, but I think we need
You spent a lot of time traveling in between.
No, I think he night to Katmai.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just curious.
The Bears?
Yeah, so we saw the Bears, yeah. That was cool.
all right, shall we start with the same old,
Yeah, same old thing.
minutes reviewing?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
All in favor?
Done.
Very good.
spelling's right, Ethan. Good job. Must be we had good secretary.
Great. Prospect Farm, the only new item I had is Susan was up there and noted that some of the signs were missing. Were those
Most of the signs are
the
missing.
little interpretive ones?
Yeah, Garland, cellar hole is shredded and left on the ground. The others are missing. The only one I saw with Apple Orchard was still there. So is there one in the kind of in the corners you come into the Vista going to Hall Sledge? So
There
there's a
was.
post.
There was.
There's a post. And
Souvenir, maybe?
I don't know.
I mean, they weren't
They
the
did.
most.
The screws are
Would
still
want.
in, let's put it that way. And then the Jackson Ski Touring has a sign and a picnic table in the middle of the Vista
Oh, there's a sign in the
with,
middle.
and it points out the tops of the mountains.
Yeah, I've seen it. They put that in over the winter. I saw that.
I didn't
Or maybe
notice
it could have
that.
been
The
over
picture was donated. I don't know what.
It was donated, it says the Simones.
Right,
donated
right.
it.
It's a beautiful view from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Super
They
view.
must have put it in like late, I think here, late last fall. Because I remember skiing up there and seeing it a couple
I
times.
saw the picnic table, but not the other thing.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like one of those.
Picture could have been on the snow.
It's true.
Yeah, really.
But late spring skiing was there.
So I guess I have two questions about the interpretive signs. Well, one would be, do we want to replace them? And the second part would be with what? Something that would like get trashed again over a couple, because that was like 3 years ago we developed those
3 years, yeah.
interpretive signs. Kind of.
You're saying the one is when you just start up the road, there's the map.
There's the map, but we made these little 8x8. I forget the name of the special print, and you put it outside. You fancy
So
cardboard.
for each of the places where
Oh, like
there was
the cellar home.
It's almost like the cellar
Yeah.
hole.
Oh, there's one for the apple orchard.
the little homesteads.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey guys.
How you doing?
Good. How are
I
you?
didn't wear mine. Yellow and green braid hat today.
Oh, I wish you did. We could have been twins.
No, I've been weird ass.
We approved the minutes already,
Okay,
and we were
excellent.
just discussing whether we wanted to replace the missing little interpretive signs in Prospect Farm.
Do we think they,
Identify
I thought I
them.
saw them in the spring. Do we think that?
I bet they could have gotten whacked. I mean, they've been like falling apart for I would say a year.
Yeah. Bears could be.
So I don't know how we get feedback as to whether people enjoyed them and whether we wanted to put more or make them more permanent
Or make like a bigger sign.
or make a bigger
With a
sign
little map and
and
identify.
Harder to carry away.
different type of things.
Like a kiosk.
But they basically, they were oak stakes with 8x8 interpretive signs. Printed on the same kind of things as those like Welcome to Jackson Falls material. So they weren't needed to be permanent, but at the time, I don't know that we had an idea that we wanted them to like last for 10 years. And
I think we also thought that they would get like they potentially if we paid more money they would get trashed anyway. So
Yeah.
we went with the more disposably one, like the 3-year ones versus the 10-year ones, because we were worried that the 10-year ones would only last 3 years as well.
Yeah.
Snow and rumors or
So
whatever.
maybe
might get
time
there.
to just replace them.
all right, replace them. What do you guys
Yeah.
think?
And the other option is to just have none.
Go up there and pull the
I guess there'd be 3 options, right? There would be the
More commitment, less commitment, or the same commitment.
yes.
Those are our 3
The
options.
3 options, the standard Forest Service options. Do nothing, do the same thing, do something bigger.
Different, yeah.
First permanent.
Yeah, first you gotta get your perk.
I think bigger would be inappropriate. I mean, it's just, they're, no.
You have a ton of skiers that go by
Yeah.
that would enjoy that in the winter.
Enjoy what the,
The signs.
Yeah.
A lot of the, I mean, I was just up there this afternoon. You get a lot of walking traffic that goes out Boggy Brook during the summer. I don't know. There's a lot less, I think, that actually goes up toward the orchard during the summer.
Yeah.
There is traffic that goes up there, but there's a ton of people that just walk their dogs and like
Yep.
Boggy Brook.
And then you get the people to go for the view and picnic table.
Yeah.
I would vote to do it, keep it the same.
Okay.
I would just suggest that the signs be put so that they're a height that can be read during the winter, because that's when your highest volume is there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Or by tall people in the summer.
Yeah.
All right. More of the same. I remember, I have to check, but I wanted to say they were $40 a sign to get them printed. I'm sure they had not.
So I remember seeing that there was little plaques that would say, this was such and such
Yeah,
a
that's
cellar hole.
Cellar hole,
It didn't give
or-
any history that I remember.
That was the lower, some of them said cellar hole, the one in the apple orchard had a short thing on succession, right?
Yeah, some of them were a little more like.
And then the
natural
one,
history
yeah.
tradition.
Then the orchard was succession, and then there was another one that
How about
was
the view?
the
looking-
view.
The view. Remember that conversation?
Yeah, we had a big conversation about whether it was called the Saco Valley, the Wildcat Valley, what valley were we calling it?
I think there was a fight.
And then there were just some regular orchard, like just
This is
cellar
hole number 3.
4, yeah, cellar hole number 3. And I bet Margaret might have all that information on her computer.
Yeah, she.
Well, I bet, what do you call it? The printing shop has it on.
Are you suggesting you want more for the holes to be written out or what?
Well, I think originally this had been inspired by Greg. No,
Oh, you're thinking of
George
Howard.
George,
George
yeah.
Howard.
George
Yeah.
Who lives up there and like is really into the history. He kind of wanted more of that, like such and such settled here at such and such time.
Right.
And I think we wanted to get into
I
quite
think you
that.
want to follow the rule of National Geographic. It's a picture in 1 to 2 sentences.
Yeah.
Or less?
No,
Yeah.
is there one, did we have a cellar hole sign? I'm forgetting what the name would be, but where the Beth Hendrick and Hubs Loop,
Yes.
we had one
There
there?
had been one there.
Yeah.
You know, you had like 5 of them.
Yeah. It was that one by the orchard wall. I don't remember them off the top of my head.
Yeah. I don't know if I've seen that one.
Oh, I know.
Is it possible then to, if we can find the original copy, to circulate the copy and then
Yes, I could do that. That I bet Margaret would have.
and see if somebody would really like to make a change, that they can make the effort to do so?
Yes. All right.
Did I happen to look at the drainages or the brooks to see if there's any knotweed anywhere else? I don't know if anyone else
I
went
haven't
along the Boggy Brook Road.
I've noticed that it came back at the stump dump.
Mhm.
Not nearly as bad, but I saw that was there. There's a patch there.
I didn't see it
I have
anywhere.
not noticed anywhere else
Any of
either.
the other concerned spots there.
You're talking about up on Buggy Brook?
Yeah.
I was just running my dog and my wife was on the handbike up here this afternoon. There is that stuff down there.
Yeah, that's the only.
That's the only place I've seen it. And that's not surprising because they're
Yeah.
having to fill.
Be interesting.
They were dumping some stumps up there this afternoon, so
No, but
no
there'll be more.
transplant.
Yeah.
So I think
Gotcha. All right. Sorry, throwing notes about what I'm supposed to do. Minuteman. This is, this email, I guess I'll bring up now. This would be new business. There's a resident lower down who is not weed, and I think basically the question is, would the town want to get involved spraying on private property? Seems to be the gist of it, if I remember the email correctly.
I don't think it's private property. I think she's saying it's the Wildcat. It's the island. That's why she's saying it's not her
Cut the
property.
brush on the small peninsula on the Wildcat. I'm not sure.
Well, I think.
Where is it located?
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
Oh, I know
behind
where
the
it's right here.
Victorian, yeah.
Yes.
I know
sorry.
where it's about.
Oh, yeah, there's lots of knotweed,
Yes.
and that is town property,
Yeah, yes.
except where it's hers.
And her
Right.
neighbors.
So I guess
It might be a little bit of both.
yeah. So it's a letter from, is it the pink house, right, as you go up
She
to the
said
falls?
pink.
The last one.
Yeah.
Up
If you're going uphill, it's the last
Yeah.
house on the right. There's
Yeah,
a
and
giant, enormous thing of
there's a
concrete
severe
area.
amount of knotweed up there.
Her
Which we've been
question
talking about
is
for 3 years.
basically, how do we make it go away? And I think specifically, would the town be interested in spraying on it? The town doesn't own it though, so that's where I feel like it's maybe bigger than us.
The town owns a section all the way down to her property.
Does it come down that far? I thought it ended right at the.
Down
I
to
mean,
the,
this gets back to.
it ends down at the bottom of the property, then the rest of it's a right of way owned by the folks at the
I thought the
Wentworth.
right away it went. Well, I guess
There's a delineation line,
Yeah.
wherever
Yeah.
that is, you know, we have to figure out exactly where it is, but it's really clear on the map out there.
Yeah. Okay.
But I believe it's right down to the park part, the part that we call the park.
I always thought the town ended literally basically the flat section, and then the easement took over as soon as the
You-
falls
you
started
could
to
be
go
right.
downhill. In which case, this would be on Wentworth condominium land over
Does
which.
the town own both sides of the river, or just the one?
Just the one, just the west
That's
side.
right.
And it's
It's just the
literally,
west side, and it's just a right of way from that delineation line down, and I'm not exactly sure where that is.
basically to the, I thought that the town owned from Valley Cross Road, basically to the, what we consider like the big parking lot where it drops off. And then my understanding was from there down, it was, the river edge was owned together by the Wentworth
It's easy enough
Condominium
to look it
Association.
up, because the property, her property line would be delineated.
Yep. Although it has been incorrect on the tax maps, you might actually need to get into.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh?
because the tax maps didn't have it all correct, is my
Oh.
understanding.
Hmm.
In the
And
past,
The
in the
deeds
past
had
though,
it
we've,
correctly,
sorry.
yeah.
I was just gonna say, in the past, we've gone in as a group and whacked down stuff on that island.
Uh,
And
yes.
we did the bridge from where the gazebo is
Yes.
across, so I'm assuming at some point, we assumed that was, you know, our
Or the
territory.
wetland plan just giving us.
Yeah, or like it was a traditional use, I don't know, but I feel like potentially spraying on condominium land is different than the town just saying yes or no, or whatever the. not
We can go
control.
beyond the condominiums.
Well, I think Julie said that they wouldn't do it by water anyway.
Yeah,
That's what
it's
that
definitely,
says.
it's within the,
Mm.
maybe we should, okay. We're sorry. Maybe sounds like the best answer, I'm not sure. For her.
But I think the other thing she's asking too is, do we want to come and whack things down just in general? But we don't know. I'm just saying we've done it in the past. but-
Yeah, and no, that's a good question with, I guess, yeah, I had forgotten this was down that low. So this would all be Jackson Falls, and it would be, do we want to mow to the, what we used, the lower Jackson Falls swimming area, the old swimming pool from the Wentworth Hotel, which the public access little sign has fallen down, but basically the town has easement for public access to Lower Falls from the dirt parking lot across from the Wentworth Hotel, behind their, I mean, I think I don't know exactly where it lies, but traditionally the public right of way has been behind their garden, behind their maintenance shed, past their little marriage zone. And then there's the little bridge to the island, and if you go uphill, there's the old swimming hole. And we used to not maintain the bridge once it was swept away. The commission decided not to maintain the bridge, but to snip access to it in case people wanted to go swim that way.
Do we want to, when we go up there and shovel ships, do we want to split off and a couple people just do some, it's been a long time since we
Yeah, I guess that'd
cut
be
down
a
there.
question.
Just have 3 or 4 people branch off and cut them.
Yeah. Okay, when do we want to do this? A weeknight in September would be my vote for wood chip moving and snipping. I don't have any free weekends until almost October at this point, I think.
There's a lot of black locust in there. Yeah, thorny.
All right. You have your calendar there, Mike?
I did a counter. Well, do we want to like send out a couple dates and see what works the best, or do we want to just
Sure.
pick one?
Yeah.
So are you thinking like,
I would say any, I don't know what day, if people generally have a day when they're not engaged after work.
It varies.
Yeah.
Wednesdays are good for me, but I'm not the powerhouse here, so.
yes you are.
Whoever owns a wheelbarrow can get it there is the important one.
Wednesday's a better day.
All right, shall we tentatively say the 18th or the 25th? Looking at that calendar.
Yeah.
I can do next Thursday, but I can't do next Wednesday.
I'm in the same boat, actually. I can't do the 18th, but I could do the following Wednesday. Or I could
What
do-
time on Thursday were you thinking people needed to be there?
I would also ask the group what time they could show
I
up.
mean, I can do, 5:30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If that's too late.
no, just when it gets dark.
I know.
6:30ish now,
Yeah,
so seems like.
they've recruited a lot of people for 1 hour.
On the 25th? Is that what you just said?
Or the 19th,
Or the 19th.
seems to be the other day.
Okay.
I
The
can't
5.
do the 19th.
We got, oh, you said the Thursday, but not the Wednesday?
I can, yeah, I can do the Thursday, I can't do Wednesday.
Okay.
And Jeff said you couldn't do Wednesday, but you could do Thursday.
Right, Thursday's the 19th, though. Right,
Okay.
that was.
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday is the 19th.
Yeah, I can do the 19th.
Yeah. And I could go earlier than 5:30 if people want to show up a little earlier.
The 19th?
On the 19th.
I can't do Thursdays. Forgot about that. But I could come later.
Well, could we just split up into two
I don't
groups
think
and
it's
do a
gonna take
Wednesday and a
long, 'cause
Thursday?
I'll bring a tarp again, which is a heck of a fast way to drag stuff down.
Yes.
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
really good.
That's what we did with the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, do tarp.
Yeah.
I have others.
I take my old ones and I charge it to commissions.
Yeah, if you guys pick a date, I've got a lot going on, but there's a birthday in there, I got stuff between 18th and 19th.
Okay. So it sounds like the 19th is generally the best out of those two.
Thursday, 19th. Or, at what time?
19th, I would say 5 or 5:30, depending on everyone. 19th, 5.
5.
Okay.
You want to pick an alternative if it's raining? If it's raining, that stuff's gonna weigh a ton.
If it's raining, yeah. The 19th, I guess the 25th, following Wednesday.
If you go for the next one, that's a Wednesday, that'd be good.
Okay.
I think I'm good with it, I won't promise.
Yeah. All right.
25th is the backup day?
So it's wood chip moving.
So 19th, back up is the 25th.
And Pam will be the boss of where the wood chips go. Great.
I'll just follow the tarp.
And once we've laid those out, let's find, and I'll take some measurements and then we'll see about just how much chain we would, like plastic chain or something.
Yeah.
Because I think that'll also help, at least in the key areas, we can just discuss whether we want to do that. And I can get a price.
Right. The sod looks good though. It had bunchberry growing in it, blooming.
The big test is how well it takes a winter. But it got through the drought
Yes.
Yeah.
with a lot of water.
Alright. So the secondary goal would be the snip to the island, but. we could also-
I know we're in Jackson Falls right now, but can we circle back to Prospect for a second?
Yes.
Two things. One is Jackson Ski Touring, and I'll step back as a board member here for a minute and just wear my Jackson, has a 5-year permit on the town lands, and that is coming up this year, so we'll be coming back to ask for the use of Prospect Farm again. And we'll be asking for the same conditions that we had in the first 5 years, which essentially is if somebody from Jackson wanted to ski up there for free on the town park, they could go get a free pass from the library, I believe is where it was kept. And that's also true on the town land that is behind the library. That area is accessible to skiing with your dog. In return, the town folks get to use the parking lot that everybody uses up there in the winter is actually not on town property. It is a right that Jackson Ski Touring has on another private landowner's property.
At the Ballantyne?
Huh?
The
Yeah.
Ballantyne lot?
Yeah. You're not, until you pass Camp Gout,
Right.
that's all his property or others' property. But Jackson plows and makes access for anybody and everybody to get up there. So I don't know if there's anything that the commission has, but that request, I believe, goes to the select board. But this commission is the one that oversees Prospect Farm, so I just wanted to put that out. And if there's anything that this board has concerns about changes in any of those conditions, but otherwise the condition request would be the same as the first one that got through, which was a little controversial the first time it went through.
Right.
So you have to get a pass to ski out behind the library?
Yeah, I mean, and it gets kind of complicated because most people think that the majority of the skiing up at Prospect is on town land, whereas in reality, most of it is on the Forest Service land, and Jackson has to pay the Forest Service actually to use their property. Here, the small circle behind the library here, but once you get over toward Thornhill Road, etc., that's all, again, on private property, but the small loop that comes out of here, which is the one that has the storybook stuff, is pretty much the small loop, is also on town property. So for people do not have to pay to ski on town property that Jackson grooms, but they do have to have a pass, and they get that free pass. It's good only for the town property component,
Is it town residents or anybody?
town residents. That was the agreement. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure that anybody's ever used them, but,
Right.
because it's such limited.
Which means that anybody who really wants to ski is,
Or snowshoe or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
really is gonna end up needing to get.
Yeah.
more
It's a way
just-
to, it's a way to
Yeah. I
get
think
started and not feel like you have to spend any money. You hear little kids and
Yeah.
you can get under a groom surface and you don't spend any money.
That's not great, beginners.
Right. But they may not even get to the Thornhill Inn before they turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Prospect's perspective, I think it was great. And I know the agreement kind of went a little bit beyond that because it got into the school and everything else, and all the different parts of the
Yeah,
relationship
yeah,
between the two.
it's- there's a lot of pluses the town gets out of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you do groom where the storybook is around the library.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
that's kind of nice.
Yeah, from Prospect, I think it seems like the same thing that's been happening.
So I would just report back that the commission has no changes to those conditions, so that they can put that into the select board when they make the request.
Something I could see down the road, and I know that they just did this, so it seems like they've just fixed the problem, but I could see down the road another 5 years parking. It just seems like, I know they just got a new parking lot and it's awesome, but it seems like on some of those weekend days that it's just crazy up there with how people park, with where they're parking. I've seen a couple times, been up there, and the Jackson police have had to go up there and kindly talk to people just about the way they're parking in that lot and up and down the road. And so my thought is that it's going to trend towards more use.
There's no
Probably.
question that
And
in low
so-
snow conditions, that's the only game in town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is popular because people want to ski their dogs, so you have another subset that skis up there.
And it's awesome. I love it. That's like my favorite place to go.
Yeah, I mean, we can only expand the lot if the landowner allows us.
Mhm.
That's not a choice that Jackson has, it's a landowner decision. That landowner has indicated that he may be receptive, but it is a problem because actually on the other side of the parking lot on the road is actually owned by Jackson Ski Touring Foundation. But we can't build a parking lot on it because when we got the land that has a conservation easement on it that does not allow a parking lot to be constructed there. Jackson does have, just below Johnny White's, there's a second parking lot.
Mhm.
Again, we cannot, even though Jackson Ski Touring owns that land, because it was donated but the easement had been put on before. The society holds that easement, but that easement does not allow any infrastructure to be built whatsoever. And I think the landowner who donated now wish they'd been a little bit more forward thinking before they put the easement and then donated. Those are the conditions that,
Well, couldn't they amend the easement? Takes a little bit of work, but.
it would, yeah. And then obviously the Ski Touring Foundation has to find the money to do that job, but there's no question that parking is.
And I didn't necessarily mean there needs to be more parking lots up there. I just, even kind of out of the box thinking, just like how can they relieve congestion, make it easier for people.
We have the same thing on access off Valley Cross, that parking lot. Because the deal when we got the land to the landowner was that parking lot could not be any larger than what it is. We would have preferred to be 2 or 3 times the size it was, but, there was a lot of donation that went with those lands. And the landowners put those conditions on the Ski Touring Foundation, so some of that is not a choice that the Ski Touring Foundation made. It has to do with the conditions that came with the land.
I wonder, this would probably be impractical because it would take people hours and time, but even some way to let people know as you come up, lots full ahead, park in the lower side one or something like that. I realize that that's cool, then you got to pay someone to, walk up there and flip a sign that says lots full or, park
It's
here or
when it's
whatever. but-
changing, that's the other thing. It's like,
Yeah.
it's full, but 3 cars just left.
That's true.
Someone's like, oh, you're going to be the one who
Yeah,
thinks,
that's true.
I'm not going to take my chances and go up there. You walk up and you're like, oh, there were 5.
Yeah, 5 spots, yeah.
Just
4-wheel
need-
drive.
Just need a camera trained on the parking lot at the entrance to the road.
You get there early or you get there late. That's it.
Bill and I have
That's
been
true.
involved in discussions about this. We're an Ski Touring Foundation hat, yeah. I mean, they try to radio down, but that law
Yeah.
changes so quickly.
Yeah.
And then you also get people who ski in the backside.
Yeah.
A Wildcat,
So they're
Yeah.
there.
and they're there typically
while.
daily, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, most people are in and out there 2 or 3 hours. Those folks are parked.
When the Forest Service put that logging bridge in off Route 16, I always had the big daydream that would become.
That bridge is gone now.
I know the bridge is gone, but Because you could
access point to
basically,
get up
you
to
could get up there
QST.
from that side. Yeah,
That'd be nice.
but anyway.
I mean, the Ski Touring Foundation would like to connect what's known as the UST Trail up onto the Orchard Trail, because the end of the Orchard Trail actually is not on Prospect Farmland, that's back on
It's
Forest
private.
Service.
private land.
It's
again.
private.
Is it private?
Yeah, there's
Oh,
that one
that's,
chunk, that's an in-hole thing.
Oh, yeah, that's,
Town on like two
guy
sides
there.
and Forest Service on the other
Yeah.
one, too. Yeah.
There's a lot up there that people think is Prospect, that is not Prospect.
Was there a second thing you said for Prospect?
That was Prospect. The other was on Knotweed, just getting back. I did go look, because I know that some board members here have trouble spraying, but I looked up Mass Audubon's recommendations on treating knotweed. And essentially, and because they're definitely not pro-spraying to say the least, but their recommendation is established populations have extensive root systems, so removal like pulling, repeated cutting is only effective for young plants. If you don't get there early and catch it right in the beginning, you're.
I think it was burning that they were recommending at some point.
Well, that's, the only reason they recommend burning is when you pull it out, if you just discard it back in the dump or something, you're making it accessible because it roots vegetatively, that it's gonna just be like there's
Any
something.
part of it.
Yeah, it's like milfoil and a bunch of others. It says treatment with systemic herbicides can be effective, but you might need to treat repeatedly. And I think history shows you almost always have to, because it's not 100% killing. And if you don't kill a full root system, within a couple of years, you'll start to watch it come back up again. And the other possibility is stem injection or application of a systemic herbicide to freshly cut stems, though this is labor intensive. And this is something that might be considered for like at the base of the Jackson Falls there.
They did do that. I just don't remember what year that was the approach, and maybe it was in the wetland areas.
Yeah. But it says for larger populations, cut the plants in late June or early July, and then treat the regrowth with a foliar spray. You know, the whole concept here is keep stressing that plant multiple times till you finally get the root system to conk out. And it's usually, even if you cut, it'll start to come back, and then when it starts to come back, then hit it with foliar spray again. And this treatment is different than the way that they do it in ag or something, where they just blanket the countryside. This is basically very spot treatment. You're hitting the plant and very little else with it, but that's what their recommendations are. And they treat a lot of it in Massachusetts.
Yeah, or we could take the,
Yeah.
The answer to your question is that the Wentworth owns that property.
yeah, okay.
Was that the Wentworth? The Wentworth?
The Wentworth Townhouse Condo Association owns that property.
The condo, not the
But do we
hotel.
have an easement over
Not the
that?
hotel, it's Condo Association.
Okay, so that's the Wentworth Condo Association, not the hotel.
But do we have an easement over it?
We have an easement over it, but it's owned by them and it's their property.
But I think the easement might be that we can do, whatever we need.
Stewardship.
I don't know. I'd have to go read it. I think it's in our filing
It's been a
cabinet.
while.
That
but I
I don't,
think-
that
I think it was pretty
it
broad.
probably allows us to do stuff, but it's their stuff that we'd be doing it to.
A lot of those easements would read that you have the right to maintain the trail once you start getting into
Yeah,
other stuff.
right.
The easement language may or may not be there.
Right.
Because it may not have thought of those issues.
That one I know we have in our filing cabinet as well as the town ones.
Yeah.
Out of the other ones. Because you couldn't
Yeah.
do it.
I don't know the details.
Because I remember there was a lot of back and forth about all the deed specifics.
Yeah, we also had a planning board session around that
Yeah.
because one of the landowners had an issue with the association.
Seems tricky.
But the way that we're treating knotweed now is the town is spraying, and they're spraying once a year, is that correct?
Seems to be so.
Yeah. And they're scheduled to spray in early September.
Yes. And I think it's mostly spots that they sprayed. It was like 3 years ago on the roadside sites where they're starting to come back. So it's a lot of those areas, the knotweed is, finally 3 years later creeping back or has moved to a different spot from its root system.
Because I mean, I can see it on Wilson Road, and you can see it on Moody Farm Road. There's a bunch of just,
See it on
there's a
Carter
bunch
Notch
of,
Road.
Carter
yes.
Notch Road, there's a whole bunch of places.
Like I know those Moody Farm ones where I walk Snoopy in the morning, just like you can, for like 1 year and it didn't come back, and now it's moved 10 feet up the road and it's back. You know,
Well, we might request the highway department to do what they're suggesting here, which is to cut it as it starts to come up, let it come up again, and then spray it.
And when they cut it, they'd have to remove it and all the. I wonder what we would do with it at that point. Take it to the dump and burn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah.
it's gonna get to the scale of past a volunteer.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem with the volunteer efforts is it's so random, and the plant will thrive on randomness.
Mhm.
All right. I don't have anything for grays. And
Still not there.
still not there. Still out there. Yeah. Those I won't. As of the spring, those signs are still there. I think there's anything new, conservation easements, onto wetlands.
Oh, we have this here.
Yes.
Did you happen to read it? You
Yes.
got a copy of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm sure you can tell us about this, but the only wetlands thing that we have is request for more information for a wetlands application where Jeff helped the homeowner get through the process.
And they essentially wanted more information on how the contractor was going to de-water the area. So how they were gonna bypass the
Is that a
stream, how
road?
they were working. Yeah.
De-water?
Yeah, so essentially the area where they're working, they need to get water out of there so they can put stuff back in. It's a pond. And it's a stream, so they need to bypass the stream as they're working. So they wanted more specifics on that.
Right, and then it says there's nothing we have to do because we already signed it, so. It's only 20 days.
Yeah,
That's the 21st, that's,
she's responded.
oh, they're, okay.
And the second item is for Ken.
Yeah, you signed the wetland permit for the water precincts project that went from the Wentworth Golf Course over to the Red Fox Restaurant
Mm-hmm.
complex. And Mallett approached Jackson Ski Touring Foundation to take what was known as the Troll Trail that used to ski across there and asked us if we were interested in getting it going again and using the new right-of-way that was cut through there. There was a temporary, in the wetland permit that you signed off on, there was a temporary bridge that they used to cross a forested wetland, basically. And Coleman has sold that bridge to the Jackson Ski Touring Foundation. And I met with the water precinct this morning. They're gonna put in for a wetland permit amendment to allow this bridge to stay in place. And it gets kind of goofy, but Jackson could take it out and go back to DES under the trail notification process, and that's a much quicker pathway through than it is through a regular wetland permitting process, and then put it back in place. That's kind of stupid because environmentally, you pull it out,
Right.
put it back in.
Doubling the impacts on the land.
It would be costly and it'd be double the impact on the way. So there will be a wetland permit amendment going in from the precinct because it's their permit. And that amendment will do two things. It will ask to leave the bridge in place, and then it will ask to have the ownership and the responsibility of this little wooden bridge over the swale. We go under the jurisdiction of the Jackson Ski Touring Foundation. And if DES turns it down, then Jackson could take it out and then go under the permit notification process and put it back in.
Right.
And that actually is on two landowners, so the abutters, and just like any other trails, et cetera, that are on private property, then it becomes a responsibility between the Ski Touring Foundation and the landowners. But since you signed on it, there will be an amendment going in. I don't think that you need to. I talked to DES, they don't even have a wetland permit amendment process. You just put in your logic and then they spit it back out, unlike a regular wetland permit. But you sign off on the wetland permits. So I just wanted to notify folks here that
Thank you.
that's going on.
And is the access point from Wentworth the same as it used to be? They come around the backside, or they? I remember when it used to be a trail a long time ago.
Well, actually, Jackson will probably use the old trail that went up off the top.
Yeah.
Whether we're going to use where they cut down, that's
It's pretty steep.
It's very steep.
Yeah,
They
Some
used to
people-
come up from the top, the old road.
And it's possible that we will go up that way and then come back and then pick up this trail because now it's a super highway.
Yeah.
It sure is a super highway.
It's the
Yeah.
trail.
Yeah, it's neat.
Yeah.
Looks like-
And it'll just end at the red
But
forest,
the-
essentially.
But the wetland permit that you signed off on had that temporary bridge removed.
Mhm.
We've got an amendment request.
So is Red Fox going to allow people to park there to access trails or what?
Mallet approached the Ski Touring Foundation
Okay,
and asked,
if you could do that?
to get the thing going again.
Yeah, I don't think that chair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he approached the
Yeah,
Ski Touring
'cause
Foundation.
when you finish, you gotta drink beer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for lunch.
Or
and
eat
dinner,
bacon,
just get
yeah.
right to your. What a good
So I don't
idea.
think that there's any action when I talked with, as I say, with DES, they don't have a amendment process, so they just sort of said, send us your information, but I thought,
It would be proper to open up
Yeah.
the old Iron Mountain ski trail.
Yeah.
That's what
really-
it is. yeah.
That's exciting. I barely remember skiing that. One of my first times skiing.
What, the Iron Mountain ski trail?
No,
The troll
trail.
trail.
The connection, yeah,
Yeah.
the troll trail.
Yeah.
I actually did.
it's actually nice terrain and it'll make, for a lot of people, like
Yeah.
to just ski out as far as the
Well, maybe we
warm-up
can
cabin and come
get all
back.
the way back
Yeah.
over to Nordic Village into those trails again too.
Yeah,
I'm probably the only one here who stayed at the Iron Mountain House
I've been,
before it burned,
I've
yeah.
been there.
Did you stay there?
Yeah.
You've been there, did you stay there?
so I'm just
I
trying to
never
do
rented.
due diligence.
Stay there.
DES asked for we bought it in front of the commission.
Truth question.
And
So
then
you could say that, yeah.
That
We
used to be
raised
the
the
youngsters
concerns.
hangout
We all
there
like
before it disappeared.
So what is that trail called?
Yeah.
The troll?
It's called the Troll, and actually the old trail that you skied on is not on this footprint. It's actually
Right,
just
it's-
slightly above it.
That's about it, yeah.
And it may be that Jackson will room both of those for a loop.
It's neat back there.
It's nice terrain, actually.
Yeah,
It's,
it is.
An easy access to the golf course.
yeah.
So it's just going to the golf course?
No, it goes from the golf course to the Red Fox.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and it's to the golf course.
And a lot of people like to, ski out. I mean, there's a subset that would like to ski out eat. It used to be the old thing of skiing up to Dana Place.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And skiing back.
That's everything I've got, unless there's any other new business.
I have a real quick thing, and that is that I was asked by actually two different people in town. They wanted to know about current recycling and where exactly what the town was doing with plastic currently, with China not buying, like where exactly it was going. And I said, that sounds like a great question for the town. And they said, aren't you the town? And I said,
No.
So I kind of gave the overall quick spiel about like the 10% contamination, like ones and twos pretty much get recycled. Anything above that often doesn't. About like kind of the bad parts of like the hopeful recycling where you throw things in kind of hoping that it's what we get recycled. But I couldn't answer their question about what is actually currently happening to.
Maybe it gets mixed in with our waste. And
I asked the guys up there when I was up there last time. The market is shifting almost on a day-to-day basis.
yeah.
And if they get contaminated stuff,
You can't use it.
they get $0.50 to $0 for it,
Yeah.
which is the problem because people are throwing in, well, it's like number one bottles. If you have number one food trays, etc., they won't take it. That is the commercial entity that's buying it won't take it.
No.
They're very specific about what they're taking right now. That is on the buying end.
My understanding is that it's over 10%. Like if 10% of the, the bin, the lot, the package, whatever is contaminated, then they won't take it. Under 10% they will, but over 10% is not physically viable.
Tell those people that they should make landfills more expensive.
So anyway, just something to think about. They were just like, well, how do I find out? How do I follow it?
It's very confusing as to what is recyclable and what is not.
And if you're not confused already, all you have to do is go to the transfer station and get confused.
Well, and there's some places that are recycling bags
Say we could ask
too.
if they could post
And
it on recycling.
I wanted to bring that up.
Well, you can recycle like at Hannah Fruits, and,
Yeah.
I take your bags.
They'll take the soft plastic,
I
yeah.
go Staples that was.
but it's like cardboard or if you buy anything that goes into a refrigerator, such as a box can, cans of beer, they can't recycle that because that paper's been waxed.
Right.
So like
Yeah.
pizza boxes, pie crust boxes, beer,
Orange juice.
that just contaminates it, and once that load is contaminated, then they get $0 for it. They have to throw it into the landfill.
Yeah, which is.
You
what-
think you're recycling, but you're actually making the rest of the load go.
Yeah, which is why the cardboard people.
Why
decide
isn't
what-
the whole process just, everything just goes together and it gets separated? And then,
Like they do in other
honestly,
places.
Oh, single stream?
why go through this process of spending all the energy to separate things and build buildings to separate things only to have them be worth nothing when there's other places to just take the whole product
I
and
think
they
those
separate it.
places conceivably just trash it all once the prices get low enough, is my understanding. If you're, a lot of single stream places now are losing money and just not doing it.
And a number of them use mentally handicapped folks to do the
Right.
sorting because it's a very repetitive,
Yeah,
simple task that they can do. And if you don't have a facility that's doing something like that,
Right.
the travel distance is too far.
And we've also been under the paradigm that people are willing to buy our trash if we separate it, and it's likely it'll go the opposite way, where it's like, well, if you want to separate it out, we'll take it from you, but we'll charge you for taking it, even though it's been separated. And then you have to decide how environmentally conscious you want to be.
I do know Ten Mountain is having an eco forum on single stream recycling. It's either this Thursday or next Thursday, or it's either this month or next month. And it's eco. I didn't talk to the person about it because it's Eco Maine, which is one of the big waste management across the board over there. But they do single stream, and anyway, they're doing a big presentation at the eco forum.
yeah, I just know my sisters, that's what they do too. I'm always like, oh, that can't go in there. She's like, no, it all goes in the one thing.
Yeah.
They separate it.
No,
Or that's what they tell
we
you.
did all single stream, yeah.
That's what they tell you.
The bad part of that is it doesn't put any pressure on
Right,
the packaging firms.
right.
Which
Yeah,
is
I mean, it's
where
all about
the real
reduce.
solution is
Yeah, it's
to
reduce.
packaging.
Exactly, yeah.
I just had one comment about the falls. Been down there a lot because I've done a lot of watering, and I noticed that a lot of people are going off trail and they're leaving a lot of garbage, a lot of cigarette butts. And I didn't know if we could get our kiosk sign up, because at least if you can say leave no trace, cigarettes or trash, I'd love to just ban cigarettes, but we know how hard that
No
would be.
smoking.
Yeah, imagine that.
Wow.
I don't know
Yeah,
how to do
people
that.
litter up there.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's really,
But I think if we got our little kiosk out, that might be of some benefit. Just so people are reminded.
Mhm.
That's on my list. I have not done anything with it.
But add that to your list of things.
Well, we can discuss it, you know.
Yeah.
I think we've discussed it before, but maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know what it would. I don't know what's the process if we wanted to try and make it a no smoking area. I mean, I imagine that would be a process.
it's just the cigarette butts, it's the smoke. You know, people go down in there and you can smell the cigarettes.
You,
go
you,
from a
you
road.
can restrict smoking if you own the property.
If you own the property.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Vaping.
I was gonna say what about vaping? And there's gonna be Juul like right. Those are gonna go in place.
Yeah.
Get rid of your quick.
All right. How about if we
it's like sign be Velcro so you can switch it.
try to nail down what we want to do for the kiosk, say by December.
Yes.
So come
Give me a
back.
date. That's good. December is good.
So if we go through it over the next several meetings, and by December we have a final idea if we wanted to ask for money in next year's budget, we could do it, or we could decide to
Or if it's not really fancy deals, we can do a
grant money again. But
warrant article.
yeah, really.
Yeah, the grant money on the Wild and Scenic, I don't know if that fund will be available next year or not. Because that was a funding source that I think was dedicated to the 50th anniversary of the Wild and Scenic program.
Yes.
I mean, I'll check it again.
Yeah,
But
there is a
Oh, the trust, right?
there is a trust which specifically has the trust that bought the cedar fence up there
okay,
is available, and it's essentially
that would be different than what you sent to
It's-
me then.
it's
Yes.
different. Yes.
Okay.
It is essentially a private trust. I believe the town might manage now through the trustees of trusts, specifically for things on the west, basically where we are,
Yeah.
west side of the river, where the public goes to
And that trust is just for the falls?
Just for the
Yes,
falls.
for the maintenance of the falls, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they can only spend they've got some conditions on how much money they can spend, but I believe there's enough that would pay for a kiosk there also if we didn't want to ask the town for more money.
Well, we could ask for, my thought would be to put in for the kiosk and put in for, yeah, putting in whatever the costs are that we're having. But I would also suggest just delineating the trails a little bit with, you know, the string stuff works, but I think something that
Yeah.
looks a
The
little.
trails up at the falls, you mean?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I've noticed the trails have gotten wider, like the main.
Well, that's the advantage of kind of just where your main things are, you know, if you put a little post and like a little plastic chain or something that,
Keep people honest.
it's no different than you put,
Can I get a rocking chair and I can sit there too?
yeah.
And yell at people, stay off the grass.
It's not 100% effective, but
Yeah, it does.
normally those
Yeah.
things.
No, people tend to go where the easy walking is.
I think we should just get a lot of poison ivy signs.
And depending on what we want to do on the kiosk, we might want to consider doing a warrant article for that
Yeah.
instead of going after the trust fund. I think the trust fund was primarily for true maintenance, not for adding.
Additions, yeah, I'd have to read it
Yeah.
to know what the intent was again, but it did.
If you can send me the info, and then if you
Yeah.
can get the cost, then we can decide whether it's a warrant article or whether it's,
Yeah, 'cause I mean, for a warrant article, it's nothing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Great. We'll get some kiosk ideas.
And then you get.
I know that nice. Have you seen the kiosk over at the Mount Surprise? They just put up a new one on the, up above Winkley's house. A really tasteful
Yeah.
kiosk, the nicest,
Upper
simplest
South
one
Avenue.
I've seen. Mm.
Is it a single, double,
I want to say it's a single side.
single? Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's what I would build if I was to build one. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Simple.
I'll go look at
Should
it.
take a picture.
Oh, you said I'm not surprised?
Yeah, you have to come in from, you know where Winkley lives?
Yep, yeah, kind of at that four corners,
Mhm.
go back up.
Yeah, go in
Okay.
from that side.
On the left. Yeah.
Okay.
That's nice.
Don't put any more information than you need on it, though.
Right, it's,
The more information and
Yeah.
smaller the print, less people will read it.
Mm.
I'm not a huge kiosk guy either, but I know everybody wants one, but I thought of all the ones I've seen, I've been asked to make, and I was like, people complain about them, it's too big, it's too this, it's too that. Like, make it yourself then. No one ever does, but this one is tasteful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must mean it's good, if he thinks it's
If
tasty.
it's good, yeah.
It is.
If he doesn't like
Well,
the
it's,
other one,
it's nice, it's using
Well,
native lumber.
It sounds like it hit a sweet spot for you.
It did.
Yes.
It hit the sweet spot, you're
Sounds
correct.
And the only other comment I had, has anybody seen the Washington Boulder, the logging they did up there?
Yeah.
Is that what they're supposed to look after you take some trees out? I mean, like, it's like
They did.
dragged. I
Yeah.
suppose they got rid of the glossy buck farm, but
Yeah.
Well, with the property owners above opened up their property.
They
as well.
asked to cut
I think they put
I
a skid
forget
in
what the
there.
town owns around Washington Boulder, but the people above asked to cut some additional trees on town property
Yeah.
that were agreed to and flagged or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I was part of the group that went up,
Yeah.
we did that, yeah.
but it does more or less look like the hillside got cut
Yeah.
at this point in time. And
They just did a clear cut?
I mean, there are some things growing there still, but
It's messy, so it's hard
Yeah.
to tell, but the
Yeah.
It's
overall.
messy, it's like you're cutting down
But
trees.
The whole area had been clear cut previously.
yeah, Oh, yeah, we
All that was,
can-
all that was left was stumps.
yeah.
And everything that was growing up from there was growing up from the stumps.
Right.
There was not one real tree there. It was all just,
Sounds like a lot of red maple.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's good
All
for
they left
carpet.
were
It's,
birch.
Yeah.
When they only leave birch, you get an ice storm and you'll have nothing there.
Mm. So,
yeah, you know what, it'll probably look great in 10 years.
what we asked was they would take out the stuff that they cut though, not just leave drops. So did they do that?
I didn't actually just pulled it into the driveway and looked and then went back down.
Okay.
Yeah,
the road.
there's
They were
nothing
good.
left.
Okay.
They're left.
We asked
Yeah.
that they either chip it or dump it
Yeah,
or
I think
drag
they
it
took it
out.
away, yeah.
You know, there's kind of an irony there, though, but messy logging sometimes ecologically can be better.
I know.
I was gonna say, what
That's why I was
if it's,
asking.
When you
it's,
have to remove
if it's really
everything,
steep,
essentially,
it's gonna,
you're also taking all the nutrients out, particularly when you take the finer stuff out.
And all the habitation.
Yeah, I mean, the perfect manicured European forests look beautiful, but ecologically they're a desert.
Right, yeah. That's just
I
on
was just worried about
NPR. That's a
erosion
big
if
program.
it rains, because, you know,
Oh, there are a lot of roots there.
When you look into the forest, like the perfectly deer browse forest, and someone thinks, this is beautiful. And there's no flowers, no plants, there's no bees, there's no birds.
But a lot of this chipping that happens with these logging operations now, they take everything and it's,
Yeah.
you're depleting the whole area of all the nutrients at some point.
I know this isn't for us, but only because I forgot to ask the question. When is bear baiting? There's a couple of guys zipping around. I just found another tree stand in the woods.
I think bear season starts the 15th of September.
I think it's the beginning of the month. I don't know if there's nuances to the bear
Can you
season, but bear season is.
Bear bait on national forest, or does that have to be private?
I believe the National Forest adopts the state laws of New Hampshire for hunting, and then has additional restrictions on being further away from trails and roads than the state has in their laws. That's the only difference I'm aware of.
And you have to have a permit with a landowner, don't you?
If you're on private land.
Yeah.
I don't
There's some
think you
gray
can-
area, I think, there.
Baiting season, September 1st through September 21st. Do you know what section we are? Each one, each
J.
two.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's almost on the old Hall Trail, one of the original Hall
Yeah, you can
connectors.
smell it.
Yeah, you smell that
Donut.
butterscotchy
It's a
smell?
little donutty up there.
I found it
Oh.
just before they had done anything. I just happened to go, oh, I used to have a trail through here, and I'm like, wait, this seems weird. Like tree stand, and I'm like, there's no signage, no posting, no, if he's baiting, he doesn't have anything marked out, like they typically have the signs, you have to put their signs out that they're baiting, but I haven't seen the bait yet, but then someone just told me, hey, I was just up there, and it reeks.
September 1? September 1?
Yeah.
Call it conservation.
So the wildlife management unit, I think we're something like E1 and E2, looking at this map.
I think we're in the one that's north of 302. I don't know if it's different for bear or deer, but
Yeah, 16's on
There might be.
Does it
the
give any
dividing
rules
line
for
between E1 and
bear
E2.
baiting?
But there are rules. They are required to have a permit.
that's why
Yeah, but usually you have to have signage that says that you're telling people, hey, when you enter this area, there's bear bait. Because I've had people, I have a piece of land in Bartlett, and there's bear problems down there. People contact me continuously, but, oh, can we bait on your property? And I say no, but then my neighbor let him do it. So I walk out and I see all the signage and whatnot. I'm like, okay, that's what it's supposed to look like.
Now, watching the North Country thing, they have to have their permits
posted.
posted.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like,
So if they have a baiting site, it has to be posted.
yeah. I haven't seen this baiting site yet, just everything leading up to it. So I was
Okay.
just wondering when does
because archery season also starts for deer in September. I don't know which date. And a lot of that is going to be from tree stands as well. It's not going to be baited.
Right, but even then, I think on your tree stand, you have to have a name.
I don't know.
Probably.
Deer is from the 15th of September.
For archery.
I think you're still supposed to have a label on your stand so that a conservation officer could come by and say, okay, this is so-and-so.
Yeah, it has to be permitted. In order to find who has the permit, they have to post it.
Right, there's nothing.
But
I find
each
them down there. It's like the third one
If
I
it's not
found.
posted, they're subject to fine.
The permittee must post a 3-inch by 6-inch durable sign at the site with the name and address of the permittee and up to 2 sub-permittees. These 3 individuals are the only persons allowed to hunt in that area. And then a licensed guide has to do other things.
I just go through with my dog all the time and make no friends. Sorry. I'll go up there tonight. I'm gonna run up there and see.
You were saying about tree stands? What was going on there? Is that private
It's
property?
it's on Forest Service property, but that's where I think they're baiting, I'm pretty sure. But I thought even on a tree stand, you had to have a label.
Yep. It
Yeah,
has to be posted. If it's
Yeah.
not posted, again, it's not a problem.
yeah, it's like the third one I found.
That's reported to the Forest Service.
Yeah.
And go from there.
You can report that and get somebody in trouble.
Well, I send it to a friend of mine who's a hunter. He usually knows who it is and if it's something that's concerning.
Okay.
I'll let him take care of it.
Get them into trouble.
All right. Any other new business? Good. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thanks, Tom.
You know, it's,
I'm gonna,
if you go down the Liffordale,
Mm-hmm.
looking at the water.
and you know, and